If you've ever turned on your Apple Watch or your health app at 9 o'clock right before you go to bed and recognize that you've only done like 1,000 steps, yeah, same. As a single mom, I was really frustrated when I realized that I was not going to be able to have the same movement practice and exercise routine that I had when I was in my early 20s and early 30s, where I used to go to the gym all the time. Every single morning, 5:30, I was at the gym. I was running marathons, I was running and training for obstacle course races, and I was in amazing physical shape. And the thing is, it was lost on me in my 20s and 30s because at that time I didn't even think I was in shape. I was beating myself up trying to get into better shape. Now, not that I would dream to be that active. It was extreme and intense, but I at least know that I would appreciate it way more than I did when I actually had the time and the ability to do it. Now I have to be way more intentional, and I therefore had to learn how to reframe what I believed, what I had always looked at exercise as being, and be more intentional about movement throughout the day instead of pouring into 1 hour exercise regimes, let's be honest, sometimes up to 2 hours. I was I was extreme. To instead be intentional about movement all day long, every day, so that I could feel like I was getting exercise in for one, but actually counterbalancing the sitting that naturally takes place when you are working full time at a desk in front of a computer. I'm going to share today 3 different ways that I have been more intentional about adding more movement into my day and reframing what it means to get exercise and show up healthy, loving my body with a little tweak on self care. I know you've probably heard a lot about the 10K steps thing. I've heard both sides of it. I've heard the one side where they said that the 10K steps things came along when people started wearing pedometers and smartwatches and things like that to be a marketing effort, a marketing ploy to get people to move more. And I've also heard the other side of it where when we were out there in the farms, agrarian culture, planting and picking our own foods, we were out moving all the time. Whether we were hunting and or gathering, we were out moving all the time. So I don't know which one is 100% accurate, but I like to say that they're both probably somewhat true. I'm sure that the 10K step specifically came in as a marketing ploy, but I also do believe that we were once a way more active society, and that movement impacted the way that we were able to nourish ourselves, but also maintain health and longevity. And that means that you get to kind of decide what aspect of it you want to take. Do you need to get exactly 10K steps? Probably not. But is it a good barometer or measuring stick for what activity you have done? Absolutely. But again, movement should feel doable. It shouldn't feel like a chore, and you should be utilizing the 10K steps thing as a measuring stick, not as something where you feel like you are shaming yourself or being mean to yourself if you don't reach the goal. It's just like a check in. How am I doing? Am I getting in this movement? Especially if you're like me and know that you're not going to prioritize going to the gym every day. So I've reframed the goal for myself. I do check how many steps I get in probably every couple of days just to kind of gauge and see, but I look more at whether or not I've moved every single hour. I try to be intentional every day throughout the day to get in anywhere between 2 minutes to 50 upwards of 15 minutes of movement every single hour. So for me that means if I've been working for 45 minutes, I pause and say, "Can I take 2 minutes to do some kind of movement?" And or if I take more intentional breaks, I will say, like, I'm going to get up and go do something for 15 minutes. Again, when I say being more intentional about movement, it doesn't mean that you're trying to fit in the gym. And if you can fit in the gym in the middle of your workday, please do it. But more specifically, I'm saying, how can I be more intentional about my movement when I am working every single hour throughout the day? And here's a couple of different ways that I have worked that into my day to day life. I have been fortunate enough to be able to get approval to have a walking pad in my office. I live in Las Vegas. It is 100 plus degrees in the summer. So I know that it's going to be hard for me to get a walk in, which is what I've been doing consistently since I started this job in January. But that doesn't mean that if I couldn't get a walking pad, that I wouldn't be able to find this movement. So this is what I want to encourage you. If you are working at a building indoors, feel free to take walks. I have a two-story building that I work at, so I can go up and down the stairs. I can walk laps on the bottom level and the top level. So figure out ways that you could just incorporate more walking into your day. For example, if you're on a call, put on your headset and take a walk, or even just pace back and forth in your office while you're on the call. I mean, I guess people are on phone calls, like corded lines, but could you not suggest or ask the person to call you on your cell phone, or vice versa? You call them on your cell phone. Pace back and forth in your office while you're taking a phone call. Park far away. Be intentional about like parking far away and leaving something in your car that you know that you're going to have to go and get. So, for example, you might park far away and purposefully leave your lunch out there to remind you and encourage you to walk out to your car and pick up your lunch. Now, that only works if you're like in covered parking, or if you buy one of those really nice um, thermoses. They're not thermoses. What are they called? Like you know what I'm talking about, where you put your lunch in them and it keeps everything cold. I can't think of the word right now, but pack your lunch in something that keeps it cold and leave it in your car and force yourself to walk outside to grab it. And if you park far, you get the steps coming in, you get the steps going out for lunch, you get the steps coming back, and then you get your steps going out when you leave for the day. Another thing I choose is, as I mentioned, I'm in a two-story building. I always choose the stairs. I always take the stairs when I go anywhere in throughout the day. If I have to leave my office to go to one of the other levels, I choose the stairs. I know it sounds kind of obvious and really small, but it is amazing the difference that just getting those additional steps in makes. It's these micro movements that lead to macro impact. And that's what we're going for here. We're trying to figure out, how can I be more intentional about moving, because I want to be more active, but I'm not more active at a gym. The second thing is, I really want to talk about something that we probably don't talk about enough, and that is being willing to look silly to maximize your health and wellness. This is for your own well-being. The next set of things I'm going to recommend might look silly or be embarrassing if you get caught. And I've been caught, but I keep doing them because my well-being far outweighs my embarrassment or shame around someone catching me taking care of myself. It reminds me a lot of like going to the women's gym versus like just using the main gym. I know it feels embarrassing to be in there with people looking at you and you think that everyone's staring at you, but at the end of the day, no one really cares what you're doing. And if anyone is judging you, they're not doing what their job anyways, right? They're not focusing on what they're supposed to be focusing on anyways. Their opinion about you is none of your business. Areas where you can fit in kind of embarrassing movement. I bet, just like anyone, you are, let's say, waiting for copies to be printed or a fax to come in. Why not do a few calf raises while you're standing there? If you can fit in a couple of squats, like that 2-minute break that I mentioned, do 2 minutes worth of squats, like just sitting your tush down to the edge of your seat and standing back up and working those quads. This is probably the most embarrassing one if you don't like to dance, but like turning on a song and dancing and just getting the wiggles out and shaking during a 2 to 3 minute song is movement. You can listen to one of your favorite songs and dance. I don't know about you, but I crave and miss the dancing that I used to do when I used to go to the nightclubs in my 20s. So why not make your own nightclub dance party right in the comfort of your own office? And even if you're in a shared space in a cubicle, put on some headsets and wiggle it out. People are spending money on these machines that vibrate their whole body when like you could just dance and get a similar ish effect. And you don't have to be good at dancing. You just have to be willing to move a little bit. If that seems a little bit too extreme, I get it. You can also just sit in your chair and be intentional about moving and stretching your body. Things that I would recommend if you're stretching your body in your chair is making sure that you're doing some back bending, making sure that you're adding some twists in so that you're doing rotations through your spine, anything that opens up your chest, stretching your arms, getting, any kind of movement in the upper body, especially. And then you can even fold forward and like reach down and open up and stretch your back. So sitting in your chair, just get some movement in and be intentional again, at minimum 2 minutes. But if you can spare upwards of 5, if you did that 3 times a day, a 15-minute stretch break, most people don't stretch ever. Imagine the impact that would have. And if you're really bold, you can take the opportunity to do lunges from the bathroom stall to the sink before you wash your hands. Other ways that you can like incorporate movement is going to the farthest bathroom in your building, or making sure that when you need to drink water that you walk to the water station even if you already have your bottle filled. it might seem redundant, but like at least you're getting that movement in and you can just say to somebody like, "Oh, I was worried I might run out of water," and like just go fill up your water and come back. But just sneak things into the movements that you're already or the habits that you already have, the things that you're already doing. And I want to remind you, yes, I've been caught moving in weird ways in my office. And yes, I keep doing them anyways because I am prioritizing my well being over someone else's opinion of me. All right, so this last one is kind of a bonus. You don't have to do it, but I would highly recommend it because as a mom, you are probably overwhelmed and stressed out anyway. And you might have even mentioned that you know the benefits of meditation, but you haven't been able to actually capitalize on these benefits. So, one of the things that I highly recommend that you incorporate also is breath. Movement isn't just about your physical body, it's also about your nervous system. And one way that you can do that without anyone really even knowing is taking intentional deep breaths for 2 to again 15 minutes. So, every hour when you're doing your movement that you're going to start doing anyways, pair it with some kind of breathing technique. The key point that I want you to do when you're doing this is taking full deep intentional breath and focusing on your breathing while you're doing your 2 minutes to 15 minutes of movement. Something as simple as breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 6. Just a key note, your body thinks that when you exhale longer than you inhale, that you are safe and supported. So you're teaching your body that you're teaching your nervous system that you are actually safe. This helps me really reset not just my body, but my mind and my central nervous system because I spend a lot of my time feeling anxious and this is just a reminder that I'm safe. I'm doing okay. Here's the thing. As a mom, we don't need more willpower. And I feel that in conversations that I've had, I'm always trying to be like, why can't I just? Why can't I just? And I'm going to be willing to bet that you've had a similar conversation with someone at some point. Why can't I just be at the gym? Why can't I just make myself do these things? But we don't need more willpower. We just need systems that are in place that align with the life that we're already living. You are going to show up to work. You are going to be taking care of the tasks that need to be done at work. So put a system in place that allows you to feel proud and check off the box that I got in 30 minutes of movement today throughout the course of the day instead of just in one fell swoop at the gym in the morning. Plus, movement throughout the day gives you energy. It helps you to regulate your emotions and it really sets the tone for everything else throughout the rest of your day. And here's my thing. I know right now in this season of life, I just don't want to prioritize going to the gym and dropping my beans off at the childcare at the gym again after being gone from them all day long. This helps me to know that even if I don't go and work out, I've gotten movement in. And for me, that's what counts. If you're a mom and you're just trying to take care of yourself in between everything else, give this a try and let me know how it goes for you. Remember, every single hour, even if it's just for 2 minutes, that's enough to shift the energy for the entire day. All right, let me know in the comments if I missed any of the sneaky movements that you might do already into your day. I'd love to add it to my list of intentional movement practices throughout the day. And if you want more soft, sustainable ways to take care of yourself while raising these little humans, please make sure that you hit the subscribe and the bell so that you know when the next video is released. That's all for now. Bye.